did you know that most, if not all, small businesses are scalable? It's just the fact that most business owners aren't in the position where they are able to scale the business properly simply because of the position they're in the business. And this is something known as the E-myth, which I'm about to break down for you right now. Alrighty, so today we're going to talk about the E-myth, which is a book by Michael E. Gerber, which basically breaks down the entrepreneur myth. And what that means is that most small business owners get into business wanting to build their own business up and make their own money. It's honestly the kind of, especially with the self-help online money space, it's the myth about building your own business up, becoming the, owner of your own work. Because once you get into business for the first time, all of your work ends up owning you. It's literally the Fight Club quote. Everything you own ends up owning you. And the business you own at the beginning ends up owning you. And it's because at the beginning, most people are a technician. Now, in the E-myth, Michael E. Gerber, who authored the book, basically talks about the difference between Ray Kroc and other business owners. So Ray Kroc, who was the investor that basically bought McDonald's off of the brothers that owned McDonald's originally, he never flipped a burger in his life. He never worked in the kitchens. He might have walked through there, but Michael E. Gerber was the last role I'm going to mention in this. And I want to know if you can guess, maybe comment below if you know this already. But most small business owners are simply the technician in their own businesses because they understand the skill of whatever product or service they're selling. They understand the skill of the product, right? And that's all they understand. And that's fine. There's no problem with this. But that's simply the technician level. And if you get into business wanting to grow a business and wanting to scale it, you have to understand that the technician level is the foundation layer. It's not the bottom level or the lowest level because it's the necessary level. It's the skill and the product and the service level. It's what is necessary to have the business running. It's the blood and oxygen of the business. But it isn't the only thing you need to be able to make a scalable business. Because if you only have a technician, you can only manage so many things, mainly just selling a few products or a few services to a few people or a few hundred people at most, depending on the complexities of it. So the next level is where some small business owners get to, but again, not all of them. And this is the manager level. And the manager level, you kind of can tell which businesses get to this level because they might have a few locations. They probably have a couple of teams of people, maybe more than just their small family of friends that are their main staff. They are the people that obviously can do more than just a skill of the product. They run teams. They do more than just, the product and the service. They manage the teams, they run teams and the day-to-day, right? The day-to-day stuff, right? They don't focus on necessarily like long-term visions or anything that much, but they focus on whatever the day-to-day operations are, solving day-to-day problems, week-to-week problems, and they are basically the owner of the day-to-day operations of everything. Now, the reason that obviously can grow a business from a small business to whatever that position is, because you need teams of people to grow a business, but it doesn't finish off what a scaling business is. And this is where the entrepreneur comes in, because the reason most small businesses don't scale is because they have no entrepreneur. And a business that will scale is someone that is an entrepreneur. They might begin as the technician, but they slowly learn that they go from technician to manager to entrepreneur. Because at the beginning, you might be the one that's providing the skill or the product or the service. Then you start hiring people. Once you take the profits from your business, you have the margins, you start hiring a couple of people. Then once you have a couple of teams, you maybe bring in a manager, bring in HR hiring. And then once you have teams of people and you start hiring more teams, that's when you get into a position when you start becoming the entrepreneur. Because the entrepreneur basically focuses on systems. And systems, hiring, and that's not hiring. They focus on systems and hiring and long-term vision, right? They focus on the vision mainly. That's what their main focus is. Now, the reason that obviously you can't just have an entrepreneur that is thinking in this headspace without the others is because the business should crumble in a second because the business isn't operating. The business requires every level of this, right? The business requires, no, if I can actually do this properly, the business requires all three people to scale effectively. Otherwise, there is no business. If you don't have the technician, there's no people providing the product or the service. If you don't have the managers, there's no people managing the service providers or the service team, the sales team, whatever it is. There's no people managing the day-to-day. And if you don't have the entrepreneurs, you don't have the actual, decision makers, the entrepreneur at the top that is managing the systems, making sure everything is working smoothly, but also thinking about how to scale long-term, stay healthy, because this is, again, why most small businesses fail within 1 to 10 years, is because there is no person that is on the entrepreneur level focusing beyond the day-to-day or beyond the week and the month and the year to know how are we going to survive in 3, 6, 9, 12, 18 months time. That is where the entrepreneur is thinking about, and even decades ahead in most cases for the bigger businesses. So if you want to know why you are in a business, if you're a small business owner that isn't scaling, then you need to consider these roles before you do anything else. And obviously there's the more advanced step ahead, which is actually knowing what to do once you know this to be able to then scale effectively, efficiently, and most importantly, scale without end up just crumbling down. Because some small businesses that scale too fast, they scale way too fast and then they fall off a cliff. So you need to know how to scale efficiently and effectively so that you know exactly how to keep the business afloat, alive, and actually growing the size of the ship as you keep scaling it. So if you want to know more, please do let me know in the comments below, but I'm happy to do a breakdown of this. I've made a brief breakdown before, but I can go into detail if you do want me to do a more in-depth breakdown on each role and how to actually go from here step by step. But with that being said, I hope that does break down exactly what each role does and means and how you can scale any small business effectively. Alrighty, so thanks very much for watching this video. If you did enjoy it, please do leave a like and consider subscribing, as well as sharing it with anybody else you think might find this valuable too. And as always, check out the 9 steps to helping you get more clients, link in description below. And with all that being said, thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.